Hello there.
Hi.
Thanks for stopping by.
Welcome to Messing About with a Narrowboat.
In this week's episode, and it's a shorter one, before we started the electrics, we decided to just triple check everything and mark out the floor with where everything is going. So all the kitchen units, the bed, the wardrobes, the settee, everything is all marked out.
Very important.
So come along, watch how we do that.
If you like what we're doing, subscribe to the channel. It helps us along and it's free.
Before we start running cables, we are going to mark out on the floor where everything is going to go. That's going to take us all day because we need to make sure that our datum lines are spot on. And we've already been kind of scratching our heads a little bit. This is an absolute killer on the knees. So what we've done is we've gone top to bottom on the boat, we've drawn a centre line, and then we're starting to mark out where everything's going. So Roma's marking out the bulkhead between the bathroom and the bedroom. And it's a lot slower going than I thought it would be, and it definitely takes two of us. The first time we measured, well, I've got a design document.
Yeah, slightly out.
It was slightly out, and we couldn't figure out, well, when we marked it out, the wardrobe doors weren't going to open because they'd be bashing against the bed, and we were scratching our heads as to why that is. But actually the measurement of the boat is, so when we measured everything, we measured it from the narrowest length of the boat, which is absolutely bang on 45 feet, but there's an extra 8 inches underneath. So when we were measuring, we were measuring from the wrong datum point. So once we figured all of that out and we compensated, it's marking out exactly as we had in our plan. But this is going to take a wee while. And the centre line, the floorboards are not straight. And the battens are not parallel to each other all the way down the boat. They're okay, but they're not good enough for measuring as a datum. So if we put the bulkhead in, the bulkhead would end up, off. So we decided to put a centre line all the way down the boat and then square off every single measurement from that centre line. And then we don't worry about what's on the sides.
No.
So we're going to wrap up the day there because it's
Absolutely.
absolutely killing our knees.
Our brain hurts, our knees hurt.
But this is the bow end of the boat. Hello, dear.
Hello.
So we've got the headboard marked out, the bed marked out,
Yeah.
the wardrobe marked out, and the first bulkhead.
Yeah.
And we know it's square because we're square to the centre line that we marked out for the boat. And there's no truth in the rumour at all that we had an argument about the size of the wardrobe.
A joke. That's a terrible joke.
Keeping going with the measuring, that's the bathroom measured out, and the bulkheads measured, and the doors measured. Actually, we could probably get away with getting a slightly smaller door. because I measured my belly and it's going down, so I can squeeze and shimmy through the door a wee bit. Oh dear goodness. Took me a while, but a really good exercise actually. So this is the kitchen, all the units marked out, the dinette, the corridor, the saloon, the fireplace, the bathroom, the doors, the bedroom, the wardrobe, the bed, and the headboard. But a couple of things. So it's been a painful on the knees exercise, but really well worth it. So some issues. Where the bulkheads are going to be, I think I need to put an extra bit of batten across so that the bulkhead's got something to bolt onto. And I've mismeasured where one of the sockets is going to go. Initially I did have them in the right place and I thought it's under the window, that's probably a bad idea, but actually it needs to be under the window. But the big one's in the kitchen and I don't really understand what I've done. I'm going to have to go back and figure out some of my measurements again, just triple check them. The corner unit, which will be here, lands right on top of the floor locker. Now it shouldn't, but it's 6 inches out and I don't know why. I've been scratching my head for ages about what the heck, so I'm going to go back and just check all the measurements for the kitchen, because I've measured this out and it should work. I think maybe the I've made the dinette too long at 6'6". It probably needs to be 6'3". Yeah, so that'll fix that, I think. At the end of the day, I haven't cut the holes out for the floor lockers. I've made the holes in the subfloor, but I haven't cut the subfloor out. So if I need to make the floor locker, that one at least, a little bit smaller, it's not the end of the world. It's not ideal, but we can live with it. So yeah, I think I need to go back to the graph paper and just double check all the measurements again, just make sure they're right. But overall, I'm pretty pleased. So this is the calorifier where the hot water tank is going to be. This is going to be a storage cupboard, but we're actually currently debating whether that should be a tall oven. A small cupboard there for bins. This will be the hob, and another small cupboard for stuff. A corner unit with a magic corner pull out. A cupboard, washing machine, sink, the fridge freezer, and the electrics cupboard over in the corner. So if you want to see the interior design, or the interior layout, I haven't quite got all the colours and stuff yet, but if you want to see the interior layout, head off to episode 6 and I will link it in the description. You can see the walkthrough that we've been working to in the plan. Darn, I've been sitting here for the last hour trying to figure out where I've gone wrong. Disappointing, but you know, adapt and overcome. I've got 3 possible solutions, which we'll do when we come to fit the kitchen. I think I've measured a dinette too big. I've allowed 6'6" for the dinette, and that's where I'm 6 inches out, I think. I think the dinette should be 6'3", but I want to double check. I'm absolutely gutted. I was really cheesed off. And there's a few other things that I noticed that if we move the fridge door won't open. It will bang against the stairs. You know, because a fridge door doesn't open 90 degrees, it opens an extra little bit beyond that, 135 degrees or wherever it is. So it's going to bash against the steps. So I've had to widen the kitchen, the cupboard area where the fridge freezer will go. Which is easily compensated, you know, just instead of a 600mm unit for a cupboard, a 500mm unit for a cupboard, and it all balances out. That's easy enough. That's just fairly fluid. Yeah, bit cheesed off. And it's dark again, and it's raining again. It's April. Will the rain ever stop? On the plus side, let's find some positives. Everything else measures out absolutely fine. The bedroom, the saloon, the dinette, all of that, all kind of works out fine. The door sizes are the right sizes, I can fit through them. I've identified a couple of extra battens that we need to put up, fine, you know, that takes 10 minutes. Or maybe a bit longer for me. But yeah, lots of positives came out of this marking out exercise. I think it has been tedious for us, but so worthwhile. We can absolutely visualize everything now, which is great. It's kind of hard to do that on a empty tube. But yeah, we can walk where we need to walk now. The corridors are all marked out. So as an exercise, I'm pretty happy. I'll figure out the kitchen. You know, we'll figure it out. So it's the next day and a sleepless night later. I've figured out what's happened. It isn't the measurements that are wrong. Everything's checking out. I even went on to one of those online kitchen planner things and went through it several times. So it's the floor bearers. The floor bearers are set out at 2 foot wide, which is perfect for kitchen cabinets, except the very first one. The very first one is 6 inches further on, so 750mm from everything else. So of course all the subfloor is measured from that point, which is why it's out. So I made the floor lockers to fit in the gaps between the floor joists, the floor bearers, and obviously being 6 inches out, it's throwing everything out. But as disappointing as that is, I think we'll just work around it when we come to fit the kitchen. I'll make the hatch, the floor locker lid slightly smaller, and that's just, you know, these are the things that you have to do, I think. So we had some great feedback from last week's video with the air vents, and I thank everybody for the comments. One of them really, I went, oh, of course. The air vents might be a bit small. I'm just going to double check the calculations because it's going from a 4-inch vent effectively to a 2-inch vent. So I just want to double check all those calculations. It should be okay because when I did all the calcs for the air vents on the boat, we were on the plus side of float, shall we say. So I'm just going to check. Oh, actually there's a surveyor here. I might just give him a quick shout and ask the question. If it's an issue, just remake them to 4 inches and deal with it that way. It is going behind the headboard, so there's room enough. I still want to duct that air down, even though it's not ram air. Getting it to the lower floor is important, I think. Mostly because you don't want 2 air vents slap banging your head in the middle of winter, blowing a hoolie in cold air. You just bung them up anyway. The funny thing with this Narrowboat, I am an overthinker. I know I'm an overthinker. It's because when I don't know stuff, it annoys me enormously. So I sit and try and work out the logic of things, try and figure out how to do it. I'm just terrible. The last couple of nights I've just been filling my head with absolute nonsense. I need to kind of park it and move on. I think it's because I'm still reeling from having to shell out nearly £500 on 4 new tyres. It's like, oh God, that's the solar controller. Anyway, I'm no expert, and that's why the comments and the feedback that people give is, I do take it all on board because it's so helpful and it's very much appreciated. So I think we'll wrap this one up there. It is short, but for Roma and I think it was a really brilliant exercise to lay everything out, taping it on the floor. I might go a bit over the top and have cardboard cutouts of things. I don't know, like toilet, just make sure it's in the right place. And certainly the fireplace is. So yeah, let's wrap it up there. I'm just waffling on. Thanks for watching. Thanks for all the comments. Really, again, appreciate the comments. So thanks for liking and consider subscribing if you're not a subscriber. I'm trying to bump up the subscriber numbers without having to resort to Instagram and Facebook, because I just don't have the time for that. So, we'll see you next time.